First of all, Prime Minister's not going to be fined again. Police investigation is now finished into so-called Partygate. I mean, frankly, it's time to draw a line under it, isn't it? And to move on and talk about the things that matter, like cost of living.
Well, what the investigation has shown is industrial scale lawbreaking in Downing Street, 120 or so fines, and that reflects a culture, and the Prime Minister sets the culture. What I want to see now is the full Sue Gray report published. There's no further hiding places for the Prime Minister on that. But yes, I also want to see the government laser focused on the issue that is uppermost for people, which is the cost of living crisis. Wherever I go, people come up to me and say, Keir, I can't pay my bills, and the government's not doing anything about it. What they want to see is action. At the moment, all they've got is a government running around like headless chickens, not knowing what to do in the middle of a cost of living crisis.
In saying that, Boris Johnson's, the Prime Minister, has only been fined once. It was for a surprise birthday that he didn't know anything about. You can't seriously still be calling for him to resign, you?
120 fines in Downing Street for law breaking when the Prime Minister said all laws were followed. That's a culture that the Prime Minister has responsibility for. But do I want to see the Prime Minister focusing on the cost of living crisis? Yes, that's why we pressed a vote on the windfall tax, because what we want to see is up to £600 taken off the energy bills of people across the country, those most in need, paid for by a windfall tax on the profits that the oil and gas companies in the North Sea didn't expect to make. That's a practical answer to the most pressing question. What did the Prime Minister do? He voted it down, and he's got nothing to say to the people who are tossing and turning in their beds, unable to know how they're going to pay their bills.
I do want to ask about cost of living, but just on this, I mean, are you still calling for the Prime Minister to resign? We've got the results now of the Met investigation.
My view of the Prime Minister hasn't changed. Of course, after an investigation that shows 120 plus breaches of the law in Downing Street, of course he should resign. He's responsible for the culture. He also needs to focus on the cost of living crisis, because people are really struggling with their bills. Inflation's up, prices are up, wages are down, and the government is imposing tax on them at the same time. And he's got no answers. And he had the opportunity. One of the answers is staring the Prime Minister in the face, a windfall tax to reduce bills by up to £600 for those that most need it, on the profits that oil and gas companies didn't expect to make. I think the Prime Minister will U-turn on this, but by the time he's done that, so many people will have struggled with their bills for so much longer.
Considering the Prime Minister was fined for a party he didn't know anything about, are you concerned that actually the police may well fine you in the end?
There was no breach of the rules by me or anybody in my team. I'm confident about that, and therefore there's no comparison to be made here.